Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, your host. Folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. Well, we have a great show for you today. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And of course, good morning to Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northeast Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana. Good morning to the entire world who is receiving the great signals from from the internet. It is those other places that get our 100,000 watt transmitter. I guess when you get a rough start, man, you kind of miss a few cues here and there. But we are going to have a great show for you today. Before we continue, let's go ahead to the geniuses, Los Genios, in the studio. How you doing, my dear brothers?
Well, we're so glad you could join us for your show this morning. 100,000 watts blazing across Southeast Texas. It is KPFT Houston.
Right.
And Politics Done Right. And we're so glad that you joined us because I only have about 5 seconds worth of material and Jack's only got one page. So we don't know what we would have done for the rest of the hour.
Oh, man. That was, let me tell you, I thought I was transmitting, right? So I am talking my head off and I hear the music is still going. And I'm like, wait, maybe they're not hearing the signal here. And then I started to flip buttons. Anyway,
well,
what's up?
Sometimes the tin cans and string just don't work.
I know. Anyway, Jack, what's up, my dear brother?
All right. Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I am fine, my dear sir.
All right. Government must intercede between the people and big health care. Stop holding people hostage for health care. Government, the people must intercede between the people and the big oil oligarchs. We must stop big oil oligarchs from taking us to war for profit. Government must intercede and balance the Supreme Court. Government must intercede between the people and the neoliberal capitalists. Capitalism must be regulated or it creates fascism. Fascism creates barbarism and cruelty. Look at our politicians today, creating draconian policies to oppress race, gender, sexuality, immigration, and economic status. They are kissing up to the corporate elites so capitalism will rain down sheets of money and wealth upon them that they've stolen from you, John Q. Taxpayer.
God.
Those Grinches.
Those rats.
Those Grinches.
Jack, there you've done it again. You've made me call them rats.
But you know what, guys? Jack did it to me again. You go ahead and before I even start my damn program, you changed it. You changed it because you hit a nerve.
Well, we like to hijack your show, you know.
All the time, man. All of the times. Man, okay, let's talk about that healthcare thing and how it refers to what happened yesterday with the selection of Tim Walz. Okay, Tim Walz decided to give, and you know, it's not only healthcare; it is childcare, all this stuff. Tim Walz, in his last election, I think it was 2020, he won in 2022, his second election. And he got, for a change, Minnesota was not a split party legislature. In other words, he got full control of the legislature, both the lower house and the upper house, meaning the Senate and Congress. And Tim Walz also, he got governorship again. And he said, remember what Republicans always told us, a one vote majority is a win. And if we take a look at, what Republicans have done with their majorities, whether they've won it or not, as in, remember Donald Trump won the Electoral College, even as he lost a popular vote by 3 million votes. But still, he didn't mind that even though he never had the will of the people when he got elected, to hold back and to go ahead and accept, first of all, the stolen Obama judge, and also assign two more, even though one died shortly before the election. So we got we have 5 Supreme Court judges that were placed onto the Supreme Court from a president who got less than the popular vote. That is Bush 1 during his first term, and Donald Trump. 5 Supreme Court justices created by presidents who did not win the majority of the population. Here comes Walz, and he goes to Minnesota, or rather, he is the governor of Minnesota, and he starts instituting programs that help people. And for instituting programs that help people, they're starting to go ahead and ask, is this guy too progressive? What is his mistake again for the mainstream media? He helped people. He gave them better health care. He gave people who needed lunches at school free lunch. It's not free lunch. Those of us who can afford it pay the taxes for those lunches. He went ahead and codified within the state that women's rights will be respected and honored. And he was asked yesterday by the one and only Jose Diaz-Balart, a journalist and host that I normally respected, but he had the nerve to give the impression that progressive policies that most Americans say they want is somehow a liability that Kamala Harris has made by choosing Tim Walz. I'll be honest with you. Progressives are elated all over this country. They are organizing and intend to vote en masse because, as they see it, finally, we had a presidential primary candidate that did not fear, that went into the, as Jack just placed it, the establishment, the neoliberals, decided not to take the neoliberal pick. And by the way, Shapiro would have been the neoliberal pick. I like Shapiro, but he's a neoliberal, right? And he would have tempered a lot of things that need to be done for the middle class, for the working class. So whether you are in the ghettos, the barrios, or Appalachia, you should be happy that Tim Walz was elected, because Tim Walz showed what can be done when you use the power you've been elected to make things good for the citizens of your state. Now, to think that he'll be there to give Kamala Harris the backing to do what's right, not just for the state of California and the state of Minnesota, respectively, but for the entire country. And how do we know it? Guess which state is the sixth happiest state in this country? Minnesota. Why? Because they feel liberated. They feel that they have a government that is working for them. A government that shows them that where a hand up is needed, a hand up from your government will be there. And, when we say a hand up from the government, remember who we're talking about. We, the people. But I tell you what, now I'm going to, first let me tell you, the show today is titled Dems Demand Project 25 180-Day Plan. There's a 180-day plan that they refused to print. They were ballsy in printing the 920-something page report about what they want to do in the aggregate. But as far as what the first 180 days is going to be like under a Trump dictatorship, they haven't said what it would look like. So Democrats are demanding that they explain what Project 2025's 180-day plan looks like. Of course, we have the progressive trope against Harris and Walz has started. And I have a video for you. I want you to listen to how El Señor Ballart interviewed DFL chair. And by the way, there are two kinds of Democratic parties in Minnesota. There's the actual Democratic Party, and then there's the Democratic Farmers, something that allies with the Democratic Party. And, it's two different parties, but they ally together for progressive governorship, governance is what I should say, governance. So I want you to listen to how Ballart interviewed this guy. And Ballart, I love Ballart. He's normally a good host. He's normally a straight down journalist. But the condescension with the progressive way he handled the word progressive ticked me off. And, I had to send him a message yesterday because progressives need to go out there within the Democratic Party and say, yes, we are progressives. And the reason why is because that's the only way we move this country forward. Progressive mean moving, progress, changing policies to make lives better for people. I want you to listen to what Ballart had to say, and then we'll take it on the other side. Look, I really like Jose Diaz-Ballart. He is a host on MSNBC, but for some reason, I saw him kind of coalesce into that normal, stagnant talking point that seemed to make progressive a pejorative. In other words, make progressive seem like there's an issue with being progressive. So he asked the governor, or rather he asked the DFL chair earlier on if somehow being a progressive, the governor Walz being a progressive creates a problem. I tell you what, listen to this segment of his interview, and then we'll take it on the other side.
How progressive of a leader has he been, and how effective has he been as a progressive governor?
Well, look, I mean, you can try to put any label you want on the governor. The reality is he's passed legislation that's made a difference in people's lives. He brought down child care costs. He passed a bill to make preschool meals, the largest paid family and medical leave act in the nation, the largest child tax credit in the nation. He codified reproductive rights in our state, made the largest investment in our K-12 education system. These are all, of course, laws now that will improve families' lives and children's lives in this state. And if that's progressive, then so be it. As the governor said, progress is important, and moving forward and making sure that we're using power to make a difference is really at the heart of why he serves. I've known the governor for over 20 years. I've watched his remarkable career, both in Congress and then, of course, as our governor. And he has a great record of success to be able to tell to the American people. And you couple that with what Vice President Harris and President Biden have done for America these last 3.5 years. You have two public servants in Kamala Harris and Tim Walz who delivered for both the state and for the American people. You contrast that with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, who have done nothing of any note while they have served in office, whether it was Donald Trump during his first term as president, and of course now with J.D. Vance. There's no legislation they can point to that actually made a difference in the lives of Americans.
So you see, I mean, it's not that Ballard was bad. It's just that the tonality that he gave the impression as if Tim Walz has to find some excuse to unprogressivize or conservatize, if those are words, his progressiveness. So I really got upset when I saw that piece, that segment. So I immediately sent JD Ballard, Jose Diaz Ballard, a tweet. And I said, JD Ballard, I've always respected you as a journalist. I was disappointed with the implication and tonality with DFL chair Ken Martin. This is the question you asked. How progressive of a leader has he been? How effective has he been as a progressive governor? The tone seemed almost pejorative, emphasizing progressive, even as most Americans say they want the progressive policies Ken Martin articulated by north of 70%. I never heard asked of J.D. Vance, how conservative a leader has he been? How effective has he been as a conservative senator? The fact is, when described accurately, conservative policies are not popular. And how come we don't continuously ask? If conservatism offers the best policies, why are the conservative states the poorest, the sickest, and the least educated? Let's bring truth and honesty to the conversation. Also, by the way, with one vote, Democratic majority, he effectively got his policies to fruition. That is effective governance. The man actually got many progressive policies passed during his administration in Minnesota with a one vote majority. That is effective governing. And that is who Kamala Harris will have to work with her, to which I say kudos. Kudos to VP Harris for an excellent choice. Absolutely. It is kudos. And, you know, Ken Martin asked the most important question. At first, he makes a statement. This guy made life better for Minnesotans. And you know what? You know what Minnesotans say? We are the sixth happiest state in the country because our government works for us. For all the people who are voting for what Jeff Duncan, the former Republican lieutenant governor of Georgia, calls, for those of you who are voting for the felonious thug, that is how Republican Jeff Duncan of Georgia characterized it. For those of you who are willing to vote for this guy who grabs on women, this guy who cheats people out of their monies, this guy who doesn't pay for services rendered, this guy who created a fraudulent university, those of you that are comfortable telling your children that is who you voted for. What did he do in his 4 years to make life better for anybody in the working class? Enumerate it. We can enumerate what happened under the Biden administration. We can go toe to toe. We can enumerate what went well under the Biden administration to make the lives of the working class better. We can even show how public policy, government policy, we the people policy has reduced poverty until the conservative Republican guys came into power and took away those programs that reduced poverty and threw 3 million more children into poverty. We thought the party said they were a party of family values. We thought the party said they believed in the sanctity of life. Don't tell me the words. Show me the policy. Government is about policy. Government is policy. I don't want to hear your good words. I don't want to hear things about when shootings occur, my prayers are with you. I don't give a damn if your prayers are with me. What policy are you going to effectuate to stop the evil, to stop the killing, to stop the death, to stop the starving, to stop the illness? Tell me what policy you are going to get into fruition to do these things. Don't just say you damn progressive. Tell me how you are going to help the American people. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes in the chat. Welcome aboard from Kingwood and Atascocita, Texas. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan in the chat from Barcelona, Spain. Welcome aboard, Billy Allison Irwin from, you told me yesterday, you are from right next to the, I know where it's at. It's right, our sister city from Kingwood. But anyhow, folks, let's go ahead and go to the lines. Brother Donald is on the line. Come on in, Brother Donald. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I asked you a question yesterday, Egberto. So Minnesota would be your favorite state, and remember we discussed weird. So
yes,
I think I kind of nailed that one yesterday, and that was before it was released. This goes out for Mr. Johnny. You know, I think little Jimmy Dickens said it best, may the bird of paradise fly up your nose. I don't think I have to give credentials on people who I know, but there used to be the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and people could go to theaters and act it out and sing and dance, and those people were dressed up certain ways. So, hey, whatever. I don't have to worry about my credentials. And I know 4 of them on one hand that I can give you names, but that's their personal business.
No. Well, look. Let me just say one of the things, Donald, and is where our politics have gone, and we all do things. What do I call it? Preconceived misconceptions, right? There are a lot of preconceived misconceptions a lot of us have in every direction about people, and it's the hardest thing to get around. I've had to teach myself as well to get around preconceived misconceptions. So let's just charge that up to that.
I'm going to go with that.
Go ahead.
You know how you talk a transvestite or a transgender, just like
Yes.
you do everybody else, because that Jesus feller used to hang around with prostitutes and tax collectors.
Amen.
And he talked to them, he talked to everybody else. So
Amen.
you got to do that, people. If you see somebody, you got to realize, you got to give them a compliment. It is hard to be that beautiful. It takes a lot of work. And they're just letting their inner spirit out for the world to see. And hey, man, if that floats their boat, more power to them. It ain't for you to judge.
You know something?
Everybody has hard times and everybody gets down. You're there to uplift it. A smile is contagious. A few damn words go a long way.
Donald, you're a thoughtful dude. And actually, I always knew you were a nice dude. You like to play like you're not, but you're pretty nice dude, Anyway, thank you for calling in, my brother. Anything else you want to say before I jump to Brother Ray from South Park?
No. I'll let you get on your soapbox. Take it away.
Thank you, bro. All right. Thank you, brother. Peace. Let's go to Brother Ray from South Park now. No longer Third Ward. Now it's South Park. Hey, brother. How you doing?
Hey, Brother Egberto. Hey, I just want to shout out to Brother Donald. You better stop being so nice. I'm starting to like you.
Hey, wait. He's our MAGA brother. Don't forget that now. And I mean, I love the brother to death.
I know. I know. That's what I'm saying. He done said a lot of stuff that then ruffled my feathers. And I think he gets his jollies off on that just because he knows he's a bit of a troll. But like you say, he's starting to reveal that he's actually a nice guy on the inside. So, Brother Donald, I appreciate that. And, on November, when you by yourself in that booth, you can just push that button for Miss Harris. And nobody will look different on you. But I digress. I know we got a long queue here. So I called in to say, the more I hear about Brother Walz, the more I love him, because people like yourself are progressive, other progressive journalists have thought highly of him. And one thing about him that you didn't mention, you mentioned his policy. But, what I love so much about him is he is the epitome of what you have preached. Politics done right. He's a great messenger. He's unapologetic. He's quick. That's one thing. And it's like one thing, and I'm not going to take up too much time, but it's like when you look at the Republican Party, you hear silence. And then when you finally listen, you say, what's that noise? Oh, it's the sound of Donald Trump and the Republican Party crapping their depends. That's what it is. Because for so long, they could just look at us and say, ooh, you got the old man and the lady who nobody likes. You're going down in flames, But now the whole dynamic has changed. You could hear the energy in my voice even. It's like we got two younger, more progressive, quicker on the whistle. That's what I'm saying. Like, the one thing that Donald Trump had in his corner is he could talk and quickly, and he could lie so quickly you couldn't catch up with him. But he can't do that. Oh, and poor little J.D. Vance, Mr. Hillbilly Elegy. Oh, I know Mr. Walz can't wait to tear him off the bone, because what does he really got? You got this man who's loved by his state. He's a patriot that actually served in the military. And I mean, Tim Walz basically just really went in when he said, yeah, if he gets off the couch, everybody knew what that meant.
I know exactly. But Ray, let me tell you something, okay? Because you brought up J.D. Vance, and I want to address J.D. Vance real quickly before you finish. And next, I'm going to go to you, Joe. I know you're at the bus stop, so I'm going to kind of throw you a little bit ahead so that we can get to you. But here's the thing, Ray. I love my brothers and sisters in Appalachia more so than J.D. Vance love his own where he was reared, because he made a whole lot of money on ridiculing them. He made a whole lot of money, millions of dollars, in ridiculing the people. And I'm gonna get a lot of black folks upset. He's like, what's the guy who plays a part of Mama? He's a guy that plays a part of Mama in the House. He has a studio in Georgia now. He became a billionaire.
Tyler
Perry. I know a lot of black folks like Tyler Perry. I think Tyler Perry is a clear and present danger to the black community, because he make the black folks a monolith that looks like a whole bunch of stupid people. That's how I feel. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of my black folks are going to be mad at me for saying that. But I had a reporter go into his studio. He went and got a big stipend from Atlanta, Georgia, to go ahead and create this studio. And then in a black community, surrounded the studio with walls. The prices outside are going up. They're losing their homes, but he's become a billionaire, right? He's a capitalist does what capitalists do. Okay, so it just shows you that capitalism. When I talk about capitalism and race and all these things, that's what I'm talking about. But anyhow, I just wanted to say J.D. Vance did a Tyler Perry onto his people in Appalachia. And in doing so, it's going to come back and bite him, because these are hardworking people who love their country, but people who've been misled. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead, continue, Ray.
I love that comparison, and one day we should have that conversation about Tyler Perry. But for all intents and purposes, people will look at him as an entrepreneur that raised himself up from his bootstraps and
which
created
he did,
a lot
but yes,
of jobs, work. So, but that's the narrative, and we'll go in that. But to bring my point home, the Harris campaign is looking better, and it looks like they're actually good. Everything you said was great, Egberto, as far as policy. But what I'm loving about the Harris campaign is they're actually good at politicking.
Yes,
and they got the other side. To quote Missy Elliott, she got the other side looking like dumb, like duh.
All right, Ray. Thank you, my brother. You have a good one. Okay, sir. I'll see you at 3 if you're there at 3. All right, let's go to. I'm going to skip and go to Joe because Joe called yesterday, and I think we came from on hold, and he couldn't stay by. Brother Joe, come on in.
Hey, good morning, Egberto. Yeah, when I gotta get on the bus, I gotta get on the bus. But what I wanted to say is that man, I'm a native Houstonian. I was lucky enough to live close to Rice University. I grew up on KTRU 91.7. I found it on my clock radio. And I broke the handle off, and I loved K-True, right? And when it got absorbed and went away, NPR, KPFT was there. NPR kind of sold out, and now KPFT is it, right? KPFT is it, and I love KPFT. I've listened to it for decades. The prison show, the anti-drug or the drug war show, Connect the Dots. So many shows have been great throughout my time was enjoying KPFT. But this show is different, man. And it starts off, and I've never really paid much attention, but it's interesting that this one is sponsored by, a book. You plug a book and you plug a website and you plug Willies Media, right? And you know what, basically what you do is you read a big piece, right, by an activist. It's probably a hit piece. Maybe you wrote it, maybe someone else wrote it, or maybe you play a blurb off of MSNBC. And basically, this is nothing but a big infomercial. And when you said, yesterday that you're irked that I go out and kind of do some critical thinking and analyze what you say, this is just a big infomercial, right? And that's really what I wanted to say.
Let me answer you. I think you made a statement, and I think an answer is justifiable. The beginning of my show, I never did that by putting those things out there. FCC and 501c3 regulations forced that statement in the beginning of my program. I was told to do that. Okay, so just want to let it be clear that that's how it runs. Okay, that's what happens. Number two. No. Wait a minute. You came and you made some assertions about my program, and I think it's only fair that I go ahead and answer what it says. As far as being an infomercial, no. I'm a very progressive person, and in fact, if you hear the beginning of my show, I also say that this is an absolutely progressive show, but I want to entertain all points of view. I want to give all points of view a hearing. And you, Joe, have been a consistent caller who calls in, and I give you a platform for you to say what you have to say, whether I agree with you or not. I am never rude to you. And you can say whatever you want on the show as long as you don't use any obscenities that will give us an FCC penalty. Okay, so I think I've been fair with that as well to make sure that you people like yourself who are diametrically opposed to much of what I say, I give you the opportunity to speak. Thirdly, as far as what I use as clips, I use clips from MSNBC. I use clips from CNN. I use clips from Fox News. I use them all. Like I said, I don't deny or do I apologize for being a progressive. And like I stated, based on factual statements, most Americans, even as they don't call themselves the progressives, including you, have very progressive proclivities. And that's all. So what I detect from you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I detect that the winds have changed. The winds have changed, as Ray just pointed out, and it's true. It's have changed. But people are seeing something that we've spoken about months ago. I said Democrats, if they followed the rules, if they followed where America wanted to go, would win this year in a landslide, and that's what it's building up to be. And I know there are a lot of my MAGA listeners, respectfully, I'm telling you, a lot of my MAGA listeners, now they're seeing what's written on the wall, and it's not happy. And look, for you to call into my show, my brother, and just say, oh, I'm an infomercial, that's not kind. That is also disparaging to an audience member who comes in to listen today for the first time. If they come in and listen today for the first time, you didn't make a policy statement. You made a statement that disparaged the program. Even a program that has given you a platform every day that you want a platform. I don't think that was right, but continue. Respond, Joe.
Here's the wind of change that that the winds have not changed the way you think, because the other side, they haven't had a single press conference since they announced they were running, right? So what changed in my mind was the assassination attempt on Donald Trump and all of the misinformation and disinformation that led to that. When they published that kid's social media account, all of his talking points come right from shows like this, right down to the papers and evidence cited. Right? It was surreal. The kid cited that PNAS article, and it's like 2 days before you had cited it yourself. And there are so many parallels between his twisted thinking and the twisting that you do on a daily basis on this show, right? That I feel like it's a danger. But there is freedom of speech. But honestly, I think like you're using this community radio platform to elevate your status and basically earn a living, right? Hold on. I got to
interrupt there. No, KPFT does not pay me a penny. Let's be clear here. And not only do they not pay me a penny, KPFT cost me money. Okay? I am a donor to KPFT. I have donated my own darn car to KPFT. I have also, sir, lost because I have two programs, one on KPFT and one on and several outside of KPFT, because a lot of my supporters don't realize their differences. KPFT have garnered a lot of the supporters that I would normally get elsewhere. So my friend, what you are given here is a disparaging information on this host here that somehow is getting a benefit from this station, which on the reality is this station costs. This is out of love for wanting to ensure a progressive message gets out there that is stifled by the mainstream media. Sir, I mean, that is a disparaging comment, my dear friend. And it is a comment made out of frustration that Donald Trump is exactly now seen for what he is. I'm sorry to tell you that, sir. But what you have done here today, and notice I didn't interrupt you. I gave you the platform to disparage me. But for those people who are coming for the first time, the reason I'm answering that is because I cannot allow you to do that to what I have done for the progressive movement, not only aside, but here on the program. I've given you a platform. I've given everybody a platform, whether they agree with me or not. Because that's what I believe in. Free speech and the ability to do it. And for you to come on you will continue to be able to come on my program, sir, but you've disparaged me. Close out. I got to go to another caller.
Still looking forward to that coffee, and that maybe that coffee shop inside of HEB. I look. No,
you look, sir. You have my email. I'll go to coffee with you. Okay. All right. You have a great day, Joe.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and go to Patrick. Come on in, Patrick. Whoops, my fault. It's going to be there in a minute. Patrick is number 3.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Patrick, are you on yet? Oh, yeah, come on in, Patrick.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, you stole a little bit of my thunder about quality of life in more expensive countries. I'd like to point out to Joel first, though, that he said that he's on board with everything we have to say, except for the social extension of what the party agrees with. So the first thing I'd like to ask is, okay, well, Joel, if you're good with everything except for doing good for other people, why don't you just take this as like a 75% win? So if everything you're worried about is, oh, you're doing too much for other people, live with it for 4 years or 8 years. See how it works out. In Minnesota, you did point out that it's number 6 for the happiest state. I don't think that you did point out that it's number 3 for poverty. Texas is run by MAGA governor. Our poverty drifts between 15 and 18%. Minnesota is under 9. Rate of graduation for high school and college, they double us per capita. They're healthier. They're number 3 for longevity. They live in their 80s on average. I think that we're around 74 in Texas. And they do have a higher cost of living, but if you look at rent and you look at all their basics, it's lower than ours. They have a lower cost of rent, lower cost to own a house, lower cost to purchase a vehicle. It's when you go in and you go through a drive-through and you pay more for a cup of coffee there. And I can live with that. That's a luxury item. So he's got the basics down. And to find fault with that is heartbreaking. And I also, just to disparage somebody every day, especially somebody that lets you come on the phone, is just silly. And I've held this to myself for a while, but I do believe he's disingenuous. I've never heard a scientist introduce themselves as a scientist. They introduce themselves by their trait. They say I'm a plant chemist, or they say I teach organic chemistry, or I'm a evolutionary biologist. They don't say I'm a scientist. That's what you read on a forum from an 18-year-old. And I'm not accusing him of anything, but he's just a very suspicious character. He finds no good in anything that is good.
And that is scary, because thank you very much, Patrick. Appreciate you. Let's go to Tag. Come on in, Tag.
Hey, Egberto, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, my friend. Talk to me.
Oh, just to start the conversation here, I think Joe has kind of the wrong idea of why people write books. And I was a little offended by his belief that people write books to make money and earn a living. I just don't think that happens anymore.
No, it doesn't.
I'm pretty sure you're not making a living off of writing books and posting, or in publishing. It just doesn't happen. And I appreciate the fact that people like yourself and Tom Hartman and some other people are writing these books as a means to try to educate people and help them understand what's going on in politics. And Heather Cox Richardson's another one who does a lot of writing. And these things, if you read them, they really help to explain things. So with that, I just wanted to move on to the Governor Walz issue here. And I know there are a lot of people who listen to KPFT who are Bernie bros, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
I hear them call all the time saying, oh, Bernie this and Bernie that. Well, from what I've been hearing and reading, Walz is Bernie's choice for vice president.
Yes, he is.
So if you support Bernie, you need to be supporting Walz. And that's just the bottom line. And I think people need to hear it.
Thank you very much, Tag. And you know something? That's why these are the things that are lining up while I'm talking about landslide. Gen Z has been activated like you'd not imagine. And Gen Z plus Gen Y, which is the millennials, that trumps every other demographic. But thank you, Tag. I'm running out of time here, and I want to get to Joni and Derek, Johnny, and Brian. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and jump to Sister Joni. Come on, Sister Joni. Let's hear you.
Morning. So I'm going to try to be quick about it. The economy. I heard a whole story on it yesterday on NPR. And I'm not going to get into, I'm not an economist, but the one thing that bothered me was after I I heard what was happening about the jobs report and everything and what the Fed might or might not do. I heard that, and before it even came out to everybody, it seems, Donald Trump says, if the Fed does lower the interest rates, he's doing it to help the Democrats. Now that tells me two things. Number one, accusation, it's confession by accusation. He has done things to manipulate the market, including getting his friends over in Saudi Arabia to raise the price or to hold on to oil so it raises here, forcing Biden to jump, pull into the
reserve
oil reserve that it goes down. So that has been manipulated by him, right, with his friends over in Saudi Arabia. And now he's saying that if the Fed tries to assist the American economy and American people, well, he's just trying to help the Democrats. That's the thinking of a 3-year-old. It's all about him. It has nothing to do with the American people. It all gets framed in what's going to help or hurt him. And I wish the people who supported him could look and see that we do not want a 3-year-old mentality. 3-year-olds thinking that way is fine, but a grown man that wants to run our country again, thinking like a 3-year-old, is at best dangerous because he's in charge of the arsenal. And he has said as much, if we have nukes, why don't we use them? My husband got accused on this station of Trump bashing because he was quoting Donald Trump. So, I'm kind of is disconcerting that it would happen on this station. I'm not going to name the show because I don't want to give them a plug, but the right-wing talking points that they amplify after you is very disconcerting. I want to put that out there. But anyway, thank you for giving me a voice, and I'll let you go.
Thank you very much, Joni. And he did say that Joni is absolutely right. There's nothing benevolent about Donald Trump. I still try to get into the psyche of those people who follow him. I am not there, but I continue to just work with everybody. Go ahead, Johnny. Come on in, my dear brother. I'm low on time, but come on in, Johnny. You're on, Johnny.
There you go. Yeah, I'm going to have to now listen to your show in the archive later because I was in the other room. I didn't hear the conversation. I didn't know who was talking to you, causing you to defend yourself again, and why am I not shocked? It turned out to be, hey, Joe, where you going with your gun with that gun in your hand? Is that the same Joe that the other show calls petroleum industry Joe?
Yeah, that's the same Joe.
I would advise you, seriously, if you decide to meet with this guy in public, you make it in such a way that he cannot track you after the meeting is gone. The meeting is done. I don't trust him any more than I would be able to throw Hillary across the debate stage in her royal blue corporate pants.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you for that, Johnny. Let me just tell you that as a host, I am always make sure to be something can happen to anybody, but I'm always cautious, and I hear you and I respect what you have to say. Continue, my brother.
I don't trust him. I think he's a paid troll. I think he could be pathological. He's too smug and too calm, and he refuses to admit to reality. And that's a red flag for me. Be very careful with this guy. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Let's go to Brother Derek.
Hey, good morning. You know, Egberto, the words that they use, the winds of change, that is so true. But I think that we have to look at things very, very openly, because when you talk about the winds of change, we're not just talking about just on the political scene. We're talking about on a worldwide scale here. To be president now, man, you got to deal with the bulldog in the Middle East right now. Israel shooting rockets all up into other people's lands and then turning around talking about they the victim. Then you got these natural disasters from one end of the United States to the other, and then FEMA. To be honest with you, FEMA is really broke, but they ain't coming out saying nothing to the people because they don't want to frighten you. And I mean, it's obvious that they broke. And then not only that, then you got people like the caller is just Mr. Joe. I don't know what his issue is, but people don't think like y'all. People are trying to survive out here, but yet you would rather somebody who supposedly have money to be living comfortably while you living poorly. That's all I'm trying to say, bro. The mentalities are off.
Look,
you,
I
Alberto.
appreciate Derek. I appreciate your call, and let me tell you, folks. Derek said something very important, and I'm trying to put that into the minds of people. And Derek, people have a tendency to believe that because a family or somebody is rich, that they've earned it, and if you complain about how the system gave them an unfair advantage to be rich, that somehow you're jealous or envious. That's not the case. I've constantly spoke about the defects within our economic system. I've even, I swear it's not a plug, I wrote a book called How to Make America Utopia. And the reason I did that one was to say, no, guys, there is a reason why you have billionaires and all of that. And this is why it's actually on your back. So, Derek, you're a working class guy, I imagine. A lot of people are using your body to enrich themselves more so than deserved. And what we have to do is take away the slave mentality that is in most Americans, most people, whether Americans or otherwise, and start letting folks understand their worth. You are worthy. It is you who create. It is you who make things happen. And that's the kind of policy stuff that I like to talk about and promote. But thank you, Derek, for your words, my brother.
Thank you. I'm gonna go get your book, brother. I got to read.
You have a good one, my friend. Let's go to Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm going to correct myself. Yeah, good. I'm going to correct myself on something I said was incorrect yesterday. The transgender shooter that killed those people in Memphis, Tennessee. No, he, they weren't black, but they were transgendered.
Okay.
So,
first of all, let me stop you right there, Brian. Let me stop you right there. Stop. Wait. Stop. I just want to stop you a second. I want to commend you, brother. Give me a chance. Thank you. One of the best thing human can be of us is if we make a mistake, and like when I make mistakes and somebody tell me about it, there is nothing wrong with saying, I need to correct myself. I made a mistake. A lot of folks I've noticed on the right refuse to do that. You just did that. Thank you. Proceed.
Okay, yeah, I read its manifesto. It said that he wanted to kill as many white children as possible. So I took it as his gender, his race as being black. Now the vice president pick, he's called C.D. Vance weird.
Yeah.
Okay. But I did actually see a photograph of the transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, breastfeeding a child. Now tell me, that weird? Is that weird?
I don't know what you're talking about, but I think there's a possibility if there are utilities made to give a child. Look, I can see some reasons for that. Okay. But I'm not a psychologist, or I don't know the science or anything behind it. So I just don't call something weird for the sake of calling something weird. I want to hear the science and the rationale behind it. I don't I shouldn't say that. I try not to make harsh conclusions because sometimes you can be wrong. That's all. All right. That's it, Brian. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate you.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right. Okay, folks. So I answered that. Hey, wow. I got through the call. Look, there's a lot more on that we were supposed to cover today, including the Project 2025. Well, the article is there at my site. If it is found at politicsandright.com/newsletter, where the blog for today's show is at. Now, I just want to say this because, we all want to make sure our integrity is maintained. And I always believe that folks need the only thing that I've got with an audience is something called trust, right? And I thought earlier today, Brother Joe, because of how he's feeling about how things are going, he attempted to mess with the trust. I've spent a hell of a lot of time making sure to build and earn trust. And I would not ever allow anybody to somehow change that. And with that, I'm going to jump to our brothers in the studio.
Hey, Egberto, we're here paying attention. Tin cans and string are still working.
Okay.
Going back to Brian, we want to say, Brian, thank you for calling in. Your input is always very valuable to us. Joe, you've got a home here. You can come in anytime you want to, but just be cool. So that's about all I got to say. And as far as the transgender thing goes, look, that is such a minute amount of the population that don't get it blown out of shape.
Right.
Don't give it more than it needs. I mean, sure, the transgender people, they have rights too. They have a life too. And as far as adopting children by transgenders or gay people, why not? Let them adopt children. Because there's so many children out there that need homes. If you adopt a child, 9 times out of 10, that child is going to be very, very important and going to be raised right by you because you wanted them. And they want you. They need you. Mm-hmm. So who cares if they're a gay couple or a transgender couple? If they adopt a child, they're stepping up. They're shaping that child to be the next good citizen. So I have no problem with that at all. I mean, you hear a lot of the of, oh well, they're gonna make him gay. You don't make people gay.
No, you can't make. Absolutely not. Absolutely.
In fact, it's really not. It's not a choice. It's something that's set up in the brain that the science is yet to understand really why it does that, but it does it. And I have no problem with gay people. I have no problem with them adopting children either.
Hey, Brother Howard, we're in the. You must not be looking at your clock, Brother Howard.
Well, yeah, I know.
Joe,
you've already given him a minute and a half.
Joe, close around so I can get out of here, Joe. I mean, not Joe, Jack.
Well, let's not make fun of Joe. Jack, what you got, man?
Truth and Trump are not synonymous.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, folks, love you all. All my callers, all my listeners, all the folks in the studio. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto